In this episode of MarieTV, we do have some adult language. So if you have little ones around, grab your headphones now. Hey, it's Marie Forleo, and you are watching MarieTV, the place to be to create a business and life you love. And this is our call-in show, and this is Greg Patterson.
Whoa, howdy, y'all.
He's my dear friend. He is always responsible for the beauty of this coif. And we just like to hang out and answer your questions and do our best to give you advice and coaching that can help you move forward in your life. So let's get started.
Hello?
Hi, is this Mariana?
Hi, Marie. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. How are you, darling?
I'm great. Oh my God, I'm so happy. It's amazing.
Oh, well, I want to tell you, you are on MarieTV. Gregory is here. All of Team Forleo is here, and we are really excited to see if we can help you move forward. So let me know your question today.
Hi, Gregory. How are you?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Listen, I wanted to ask you, looking into creating a clothing line for maybe like suiting for women. So I'm really, right now I'm in the learning process. I'm doing pretty much anything that has to do with, I've been doing an internship in a bespoke place. I'm also working at a e-commerce place that does suiting for men, and I want to be able to do it for women and men. My question is, there are so many brands out there that do it, even for the queer community or for women who want to dress more androgynous. And my question is, how can I differentiate myself from them? If, for example, would it be pricing? Because I believe that a lot of brands do high prices, maybe like $12,000, $1,500 for a suit. I'm sorry, $1,200 to $1,500. And if I lower my price, would that be bad for my branding? Like lower its quality in eyes of the people?
Yeah, well, this is such a great question. And first of all, I'm so excited about what you're excited about creating. I am someone who actually really loves to find suiting and to find clothing that can be either for men or for women. So I'm personally excited to see more of what you create. So a couple things that I want to cover right now. First, since you are in the learning phase, I think this is awesome that you're asking these questions. And I would advise this to any business owner. When it comes to pricing in particular, what's good is to take a step back and really think about how you want your business to live and breathe and behave in the marketplace. So for example, as you know, there are high-end brands, right? I like to call them expensivebutworthit.com. They make a decision that they want to have very high margins, that they want to serve a particular community, and that can be a very wise business move. Now, of course, there are other businesses who say, you know what, and I'm going to use some examples here that aren't necessarily related to fashion, but just to give us concrete examples so we can have them clear in our minds. If you think about a company like a Target or a Walmart, for example, one of their strategies as a brand is to give the lowest pricing possible, but that requires a certain amount of volume and structure, and that is their strategy in the marketplace. So one isn't inherently better than the other, but it is about making a decision that you feel is true for your heart. So in our business, for example, because this is a business, the only way I can make free content like this is because we run a for-profit business and we have healthy profit margins. So I like to lean into, for me, and again, this is a personal choice, the more expensive but worth it category. I'm either going to charge a fair and good amount of money for something that is paid. So that way I have the margins to then do other things that are free for communities that I want to serve who wouldn't otherwise be able to invest. So I can give scholarships, we can do philanthropic initiatives, and we can produce some of the best free content on the planet because we can afford to do so. So how does this relate to you? I want you to really step back and think for yourself, Mariana. Think about how you want your brand to feel and behave in the world. Who do you want your folks to be who you serve? And you don't have to answer this right now, but that's how I want you to start thinking. The other thing I want you to do is to start paying attention to the numbers. Since you're doing an internship, you're working in some e-commerce, you're getting exposed to these types of businesses, start to gather some intelligence and research about what it costs to make and produce the type of clothing that you may want to. Because if it is going to be a business, the numbers have to make sense. And one of the things that I've noticed that happens particularly with women, this is not certainly across the board, I'm going to make a broad generalization, but from my experience with working with almost 40,000 business owners at this point, the vast majority of women, we tend to undercharge. We tend to undervalue ourselves, and we tend to squeeze ourselves so tight. And there's many reasons for this that we won't get into, but I'm always encouraging my female business owners or anyone who tends to have these tendencies to create larger than they're comfortable with profit margins, because they're probably not even large enough. I challenge people to get to a place where it's actually more healthy, not exorbitant. So those are a few things that I want you to really think about. Then when it comes to the last piece, how do you differentiate yourself? Well, when you understand how you want your brand to behave in the world, and that's connected to your heart, when you understand the numbers, so it makes sense where you could be profitable, then when it comes to differentiating your brand, that becomes the fun, creative part. Then it's about telling a great story. Then it's about talking about why you're starting this company. It's about finding partners and perhaps influencers in the marketplace who could wear some of your clothing or who embody the values and the identity of how you want your business to behave, the values you want it to stand for, the kind of people you want to align with. That's how you differentiate yourself. It all is very organic. It's all from your heart and your soul and what you believe. Because I think one of the most important things about business, especially now and moving forward in the future, it's not just about what you sell, it's about what you stand for. And I can hear in your question and who you are. You stand for so many good things that we need more of in this world. So you're going to want to put that story to the forefront. I'm going to pause for a minute because I hear Greg, and I know you can't see him because you can only hear us right now. But Greg, I can see him nodding his head up and down. Did you want to add anything?
I just love this question, period. Because even in your delivering of info, Marie, I'm having so many aha moments, right? I don't have a fashion brand. I have a product of hair. And I get sometimes like, oh, should I charge this? Can I charge that? But you're right, because I go and speak at other events and I don't charge for it. So it just almost gives you that breath of, okay, I'm worth it, so that you can go serve your community the way you want to serve your community.
Absolutely.
So, girl, good question on that one. Thank you for asking this one.
Does this resonate for you, darling?
Sure. Yeah, this answers my question so much. So I wanted to ask you, of course, I'm a B-schooler, and it's been so great. I'm learning everything, and I'm getting the clear idea of what my customer would be. So now, for example, I'm going to say that my product is worth a higher price. Maybe I will not target a younger professional base of people, because maybe they will not be able to afford it, but maybe more of the more mature women in the workforce.
That's
maybe
right.
From 30s to 50s.
That's right. And you know what you can also do? Here's the thing that I love about business these days. And I love that you're a B-schooler, and I love that we'll be able to work with you on this as you keep moving forward. Because as you know, you're a B-schooler for life. This makes me so thrilled. Anyway, what I want to say is this. For people who are like, but wait, I want to serve people that don't have the money to afford what I want, you can always still do that. So Mariana, for you can have perhaps a certain times of the year or certain special codes, or go into particular local communities where you know that younger women who may also resonate, who may want a great look, you can go and do that in a myriad of ways, right? There's a special discount. So for example, I belong to a particular place here. It's in New York City. It's all around the world. It's a place called the Soho House. And it's almost like a co-working space or a club. And I was on the membership committee for a little bit. And one of the things they would do is they would have a special rate for young people, for people just starting out. And they would have these certain times of the year where people can come in. But if someone's just out of college, if, someone's scraping to get by, again, for you, there might be certain communities that you want to partner with at certain times a year. So it's never about saying, oh, just because people can't afford it, then I'm not going to serve them. Very much like how we do. There's people who will never buy anything from us, yet I'm not leaving them out. We're delivering the best free content we can every week. Does that make sense, Mariana?
Yeah, absolutely. From your videos and everything, and your e-letters, I do get it. So I can do both then. I'm happy actually that I can get to do both.
That's right. And you can find all kinds of creative ways. You don't have to make that decision in advance. You can try a pilot program, see if it works. Then, later in the year, try something else. And through that process of experimentation, through creativity, through talking with other people, you will find a way to have both a profitable business that really actually works and is sustainable and meaningful in a way that makes sense to you. Thank you so much for this question. Great job, my love.
Thank you both, Marie and Gregory. And I hope one day to dress you in a beautiful feminine suit.
Me too. Me too. Love you, darling. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Love you guys. Bye.
Holy cow. Okay, so I also want to say, think about sustainability, right? Think of opportunities to, she has this business.
Yeah.
It's rocking, it's rolling. She's charging her premium prices for 2 years. What if she was able to offer different fabrications? Same cut, different fabrications, lower price point. What if she was able to do you have an event, you have a wedding to go to, you can rent it from me,
amazing.
Right?
And because we've seen that also with some high-end designers.
Yeah.
They'll have a sustainable brand.
Yep.
They get known, and then they do a capsule line with Target
Yep.
or something like that.
Yep.
And I think this is really my point for anyone that's afraid to charge what they know that they're worth. You need your business to be sustainable sometimes in order to make the difference that you really want to make ultimately. So never think in terms of black and white. It's either one or the other. But again, coming from a pure business lens, the numbers have to make sense. So don't undercharge, go for it. And you can always find ways as you continue to grow to serve everyone that you want to serve.
I mean, after all,
everything is figure-outable.
Charles!
Hello, Kevin speaking.
Hey, Kevin, it's Marie Forleo. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks so much for calling me.
I am so excited to have you on. So you are on with Gregory and Team Forleo, and we are really thrilled to have you here today. So tell us your question, and we will do our best to give you an insightful answer.
Okay, well, I'm running a handyman business in Barrie, Ontario, and it's called Hubbies for Hire. And it just, like the name says, I go out and I do odd jobs for clients on a weekly business. And I really love to connect with the older generation, love helping them out with their to-do lists. And I guess I'm really just having a problem with the language in marketing that, because I'm not your general handyman or contractor that goes out and does a full basement renovation or kitchen renovation, but I like to do 4-hour stints with my clients like a cleaning company would. But I'm actually fixing things and helping them out around their property with anything that they need.
Kevin, I adore you and I adore this business. I know you can't see us, but Gregory and I, we're just dying over here.
Ready to hire a hubby.
Yes, we are ready to hire a hubby. So congratulations on what's not only a brilliant business, but such a needed business. My grandmother, she's about to turn 91. And so I know many of us have, grandparents, parents, folks who are getting older, who it's not possible for them to do everything by themselves. And we love them so much. And I just love what you're doing. So curious, how long have you been doing this?
Well, actually, I started this business about 5 years ago. I was just cutting lawns. I dealt with the stint of anxiety and depression. Well, I've dealt with it my whole life, but I was working nights at a company for about 14 years, and things took a turn for the worst and kind of fell apart for me. And after going through different treatments and whatnot, I realized that I couldn't work in an environment where there was so many people, and it was causing me a lot of anxiety trying new jobs like that. So I thought, okay, I've got to do something where I can be more independent. And so I just started cutting lawns and working up from there. And my loving wife dragged me to a business training program. And it all kind of started from there, putting the idea together where I can get out into environments where I'm working independently or I'm working with an older generation that I guess I felt or feel more comfortable with. So, that's where it began, and it's just developed into services from that point.
I love it. Okay, so thank you for sharing that, and congratulations to you for taking care of yourself, for having the courage to recognize things weren't working, and also having the courage to turn the page in your life to a next chapter. And I will tell you, there's one thing that I just wanted to underscore, because I've read studies about this, especially as it relates to depression and anxiety, which millions of us suffer from. One of the challenges can be when you work late nights and those late night shifts because of our circadian rhythms, and your whole kind of body and health starts to go in a different direction. So I just want to congratulate you on first sharing that with all of us, because it makes everyone feel less alone, but second of all, from doing something about it. So onto your business. I have some ideas for you. I think, first of all, if you don't have them already, or even if you do, it might be worth it to take a fresh look at them with a new perspective after this call in terms of testimonials. You know, if you can get written testimonials, video testimonials can sometimes be even more powerful because they can be turned into beautiful ads that can show up on Instagram or show up on Facebook. That can help you attract even more of your ideal customers. That's one place I would definitely go. And if people don't necessarily want their face on camera, you can just use, their first name and their words. You can still turn words with music into a video that is very, very effective. So take a look at that. And I would gather testimonials that match the exact kind of customers that you're looking for. So it's almost like you create these little profiles. If you were a B-schooler, I would tell you to do the ideal customer avatar exercise and go in, because we have lots of tools around this, but you'll be able to figure this out, I'm sure of it. So that's one place. Second, I think that you need to take a fresh look at the benefits that you offer and make sure that you're sharing them enough. I don't know what you're doing right now in terms of your marketing or your advertising efforts, but when I hear about your business and hear about the money that's saved, the peace of mind, allowing people to stay in their homes, especially when they're at that beautiful chapter in their life, to not have to necessarily leave because they can't keep up with the maintenance. These benefits are huge, and they're selling points in and of themselves. And I don't know if you are really trumpeting them enough right now. Next thing I want you to think about is consider marketing to the children of the parents in this generation. So myself, anyone in their 30s, their 40s, or 50s who is lucky enough to still have their parents or their grandparents alive, I know I'm constantly worried about my family who's older, right? And whenever I can find some type of service, and especially for you in terms of reaching these people, you can do it so well with the tools available to us, hyper geo-locating targeting, right? That's possible in terms of Facebook and Instagram and many other platforms. But you can create ads and marketing specifically towards the children, to be like, if you're worried about your mom, if you're worried about your dad, if they can never get who they need in and it's not affordable, call, Hubbies for Hire. Call Kevin and Hubbies for Hire. It's like, this is the best thing ever. And then the final thing that I wanted to share with you, if you haven't already, consider getting press on this. Local press would love to write about you. They would love to write a story about what you're doing and what your business is and what it stands for. Most local press organizations, whether this is newspapers, online, television, or radio, they're hungry for content. And nothing at times is more powerful than a human interest story. And while, yes, yours is a for-profit business, there is a human interest component to this that I think is really compelling, both your own story, if you're willing to share that, about what you experienced, why you started this business, that you battled anxiety and depression, and you find yourself so loving and connected towards the older generation, and all of the services that you supply to them and the love and the care that you bring into their homes. I think this is a home run. So I know I just shared a lot with you. Re-listen to this. Hopefully you take notes, but does this resonate?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. What I've been told is to try and market myself as being cheaper than, like, stay in your home. It's cheaper than you moving and paying a condo fee. It works out less than that per month, way less than that per month. And you have someone at your property doing all the things that you need to get done that either you don't have time to do or you don't have the ability to do.
Yes, I do think that that's one component, and it is really important, especially because we know, generally speaking, as we get older, looking at income inequality and looking at people on fixed incomes, it becomes harder and harder to do the things that we once were able to do, especially when we're on that fixed income. But I don't want you, and I think this is a big mistake, for you to just focus on that. We all buy for emotional reasons.
Yes.
It's always about emotion. And when any of us, we can also just time travel into the future. We can lean in. I can do it right now and imagine how I might feel, how scary it might be, how frustrating, how alone, just the panic that may set in being in an apartment or a home that I've loved for 20 or 30 years and watching things start to fall apart and not knowing who to call, not knowing who I could trust, because there are so many scams out there, particularly aimed at the older generation. Kevin, while yes, that financial component is really huge, I don't want you to overlook, nor do I want you to underestimate the power of emotional, right? That's why those testimonials matter. That's why you need to lean on the safety, the security, and the trust element, because I think that is just as, if not more, compelling to grow your business than the finances.
Okay, well, thank you. That's amazing advice. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Bye, Kevin.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that emotional piece.
Yes.
Right? Like, this business is insane, because imagine those little things that you're like, I'm in New York, my mom's in Arizona. She doesn't know how to fix the sink if it just sprung a leak. What if she just needed help moving boxes from this room to that room?
Right.
Just those little tasks that you're like,
the little cracks in the wall, the little electrical thing.
Yeah, it's not the kitchen renovation. It's, I need help.
Yeah.
Can you help me?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I think that emotional piece to that, I'm like, yes, because it's an emotionally serving business. And I think it's super cool that he turned his anxiety and depression into serving others.
Yes.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Right?
And he was brave enough to try different things. And I love too to hear how he started mowing lawns.
Yeah.
And then out of an emotional connection he felt with older generations he was doing it for, he started to do more of that work. And I think this is a great example of how we can hear from Kevin's telling of the story. You don't necessarily have to have the whole thing figured out in advance. He certainly doesn't sound like he was like, I'm going to start, hubbies for hire and serve an older generation. He just got moving. He started taking action and then paying attention to not only what was working, but what helped him come alive, and let it evolve from there. So that, in my opinion, is one of the best ways when you find yourself feeling stuck, when you find yourself not knowing what the next move is to make. I say this all the time, start before you're ready. Start before you're ready. Get out there and take action, and let your actions inform what the next step may be.
Hello?
Hi!
Oh my God, is this me?
Yes, it's Marie, and it's Team Forleo, and you are on the live call-in show, darling. Thank you so much for being here today. What's your question, and how can we help you?
Sure, I'm so glad that you're able to talk to me today. So my question is that we at Ponder Lily, we make eco-friendly planners for mindful living. We're not trying to tell people how to plan their days. Like, we all know that people can multitask all too well. So in our industry, we make our eco-friendly planners, and our customers aren't particularly concerned about whether or not our products are eco-friendly. Quite honestly, I really don't want to compromise on this aspect of our business. We'll always want to source ethical products and to make our planners and sustainable materials. So how do we market our products being eco-friendly when our buyers aren't necessarily concerned about that?
Well, Karina, first of all, I just want to congratulate you on your business. And I clicked through to your website, to ponderlily.com, and your stuff is beautiful. So I just want to congratulate you. It's awesome. And I know how much it takes. Many people watching know how much it takes to bring anything to life. So kudos to you for that. But I'm going to dive in with some tough questions. So we're just going to hit it. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So I want to know what your goal is, because when I hear that you're like, how do I market my eco-friendly planners when my customers don't really care? It's not really one of the top priorities on their list. My question to you is, okay, so what's the problem? Like, is your goal, my love, to sell more planners and to grow your business and just stay aligned with your values? Or is there something I'm missing where you're like, I want to be the dominant journal maker in the eco market? So tell me what your goal is.
Well, my goal is to be able to, to grow our business and let our customers know that we don't necessarily need to compromise on those materials and, to give them a quality product. We want to be eco-friendly from cover to cover, and we were willing to offer quality products and meaningful design, even if that means that we make a smaller margin, because it can be done, Marie. Like I just want to put a better product in people's hands.
Let me ask you this question. What do your customers care about? Because I know that you shared, you're like, hey, that's not really their big goal. What is their concerns? What do they want from you?
Okay, so they want a planner that is elegant and sophisticated, that they can bring, that goes from work to weekend, that they can bring to the boardroom and to a kid's play date to write notes and to let them draw and stuff like that. Okay. So that's what we want, and that's easily that they can carry easily in their bag.
Great. So I heard two things. So one, first of all, I commend you and I love you for staying true to your values and to saying, like, we are going to produce the most eco-friendly and sustainable products we can. That's what we need more in this world. And that being said, if what your customers care about are things that are elegant, things that can really work from the workday to the weekend, that can fit in their bags, what I'm hearing from you and from what I've seen on your website, you actually have a higher end customer than I think you're giving yourself credit for. And I will tell you this, as someone who also cares about where things come from, tries to pay attention as much as I can to what a company does in order to bring their product to market, I am always happy to pay extra for those things. So I would encourage you to relook at your pricing and making sure that your margins are high enough, because the type of consumer that you're targeting, she won't mind paying because she understands what it takes to produce it, and it'll make her feel good. The other thing about your type of company, there's different product lines. So I would imagine that you can bump the prices up on perhaps more of your high-end planners and have things that are maybe a little easier to produce, like if they're notepads or things like that, be a little bit on the lower end, still good margins, but you don't have to feel like you're pricing out some of your customer base. And the third thing is this, when I was peeking around at your site, I noticed that it doesn't really talk that much about your eco-friendly sustainability-ness, if that's a word. Right. And so if that's really important for you to communicate, you need to do a better job at putting that front and center. And I understand you're like, they don't really care, but it feels like there's this conflict with you because you want to be known as this kind of brand. So if that is important to you, then shout it out a little bit more. The most important thing, Karina, is for you to get clear on your goal. So if you're like, you know what, as a business owner, our revenue is here this year, and I want to take either our revenue, our profits, amount of journals sold, whatever metrics that matter to you, you set a growth goal for yourself. I think you need to stay focused there. And in terms of the eco-friendliness, you're going to stay true to your values, right? You're going to just do that because that's embedded in your businesses and your soul's DNA. But as a business owner, stay focused on a metric that matters. And if for you, it's like, you know what? One of my goals is just basically to do a better job telling this eco-sustainable story. That's easy to do through like a simple campaign, changing your web copy, or setting up in your social sharing, maybe once every 2 weeks, sharing a stat about paper, trees, any of the actual components that you feel other journals aren't paying attention to, and that you want to highlight about how your company is different and inspire people to get on your bandwagon. Does that make sense?
Yep, it totally does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. And continue making these incredibly beautiful journals. You're doing such a good job. And please keep us posted on how it goes.
I will. Thank you so much, Marie.
Thank you. Bye, darling.
Bye.
Hello.
Hi, Ruth. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. Are you?
Oh, we're doing great. We're so excited to talk to you today. So you're on with Team Forleo. I have Greg next to me. We would love to hear your question, and I will do my very best to help give you some insight and an answer.
Oh, thank you ever so much. Okay, so the situation is I am running a business teaching Spanish to about 100 children a week in different classes. And I crunched some numbers last week, and it turns out with all the hours that I spend out of the house and the hours teaching and all the prep and the admin that goes with running a business, I'm ending up with about £10 an hour in my pocket at the end of the day. And I did the numbers, and I've been seriously considering calling it quits. I think that if I were to take a year out and go and get myself an office job, even a very basic admin job, I'm convinced I would make more money. I think I would have more headspace to myself at the end of the day, and I could maybe pick myself up in a year and try something else. And I don't know if this is me sabotaging myself or whether, it's time to draw a line under it, really.
Well, Ruth, first of all, you are so clear. I don't think that you're giving yourself enough credit. I can hear it and feel it in your voice. So let me ask you this question, okay? This will just be a little bit of fun. We can play for a bit. When you imagine, and take a deep breath right now, close your eyes, really, sit up or stand up, whatever is most comfortable for you. And when you imagine taking the next year and having an office job, some job that is not your business, what's the immediate physical reaction that happens in your body? Does it feel more heavy or more light?
Honestly, it feels a little more heavy. It feels like a little bit of tension around my heart,
Okay, very good. So when you imagine staying with this business over the next year, perhaps 2 years, tell me what happens inside of your body. Do you feel something that, even if it's a little scary, does it feel a little bit more light, or does it also feel heavy?
Honestly, it also feels heavy. It feels, it gives me tension. It makes me almost a little bit tearful, not because I don't love it, because I do, but because it just feels like the trade-off is taking from me more than it's giving to me. I nearly had a bit of a burnout in April because I was trying to do things to automate the business, so to make my load a little bit lighter. I tried to take on a couple of people to help me, but again, of course, that all takes the time and the headspace and the energy as well. And in the meantime, all my kids still need teaching, and my business still needs running, and so
yes.
Yeah, honestly, that feels heavy too.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm
Is one heavier than the other? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I think continuing to teach is heavier because it's that weight of responsibility. Whereas if we got an office job, it honestly would feel like maybe it would be quite nice to just have a boss for a year and just rock up, do my work for 8 hours and go home again.
Okay, so I'm going to give you my feedback and my perspective. As I always like to emphasize during these calls, you are your wisest advisor. I am just here to reflect and to mirror back what I'm hearing, drawing upon my almost 2 decades of working with now hundreds of thousands of people. So I say all that to say that what I'm about to share with you, you sleep on, you're going to know what's best for you. But from the way that you asked your question, and even as I heard you respond to this, I can feel in you that this idea of taking a year off, getting some type of job, it feels to me like it might be the reset you need for your next chapter. It feels to me, especially when we look at that $10 an hour, and I can hear from you that the idea of making some more money, perhaps banking some more money, saving some more money, getting a fresh perspective, as I'm tapping into your energy, it feels like all of that is a big yes. That it's scary, that the thing that may be holding you back is a notion that if you quit, you're a quitter.
Yeah. And I think there is a certain amount of prestige attached to running your own business, I think. I mean, I'm certainly proud of what I've done. I've been
Yes.
self-employed for years and I've made a success of it.
Yes.
But I almost feel like I've hit some sort of ceiling with it.
Yes.
And maybe I just need to kind of go back to the drawing board. And I don't feel like a failure. If I were to draw a line, I don't think I would wake up on the first day of my office job and go, well, self-employment didn't work for me, because I think it can and does work for me. But perhaps I just need a little bit of breathing space.
I love this. You can't see what's happening over here, but I'm like giving you Jersey fist pumps. And
giving you glitter.
And we're giving you confetti throwing parties.
Greg.
Yes. I am with you 100%. And I just want to underscore something that you said that I think is really important for people to hear. Being an entrepreneur, running a business is no better than not, right? It's like, I agree with you. I think there is that certain prestige, at least in society in this particular time right now. It's like, oh, entrepreneurs are so great. It's like, you know what? Humans are fucking great. And whether you go to an office, if you work 5 side jobs, if you happen to run a successful business, it's like, yay, you're making a living. We respect all of that. So I think you pushing against some of those societal norms and expectations and kind of like, oh, we're going to hold these people up, but we're not going to hold these others up. I think that's bullshit. And I love you pushing against that and going like, waking up and going to an office and being done with a job between 5 and 6 every day may actually give me the head space, the heart space, the change in perspective necessary to create whatever your next chapter is going to be.
Yeah, I think so. And I could almost thank you for saying that. I almost kind of feel the tingles, because that's real truth of information.
It really is. And here's the thing, just as it's so courageous when we do go off on our own, you've been self-employed for 6 years. You've done several different things. I know that you shared with us, the first time you did it, it was so hard and you cried. And I will tell you, when I first became self-employed, the start of my business, I cried so many tears. And I've also had so many evolutions in my own career. We have to challenge ourselves to evolve. And I think personally, Ruth, that this choice is the most courageous because it's so unexpected. And my sense of you, even as I'm listening to you, is your intuition speaks pretty loudly. Like you're very, very clear. And I want you to trust that clarity, trust that heart. Whenever your brain or your mind starts to go, ba, 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 but, am I self-sabotaging it? It's like, no. There were times early on in my business where I recognized I too was burning out. Things were not working as I wanted them to. It was getting to a level where I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm spread so thin I could just crumble right here. And what I decided to do was kill a couple of revenue streams that totaled about $1 million in revenue. And I remember friends saying like, you're nuts. And like different business owners and people are going like, what are you doing? This is so stupid. And I was like, you know what? It's not stupid, because this is what my intuition is telling me that I need. I needed to clear some space emotionally, mentally, all different ways in order to kind of pull back in, regroup, and get even bigger. And I'll tell you this, my love, after I killed those revenue streams and I took a little bit of time and space, everything else in my life, including my business, exploded. And again, this is a different situation, but my point is your intuition is speaking to you. And it's recommending that you do something that is a little bit outside of the norm, that is a little bit unexpected. And I feel when we listen to those intuitive hunches, which is really our higher wisdom coming through and trying to direct us, we always move in the right direction.
Ooh, okay, thank you. I'm going to give it some thought. I certainly don't want to, make any rash decisions, but I've got a couple of ideas of what to do in terms of, keeping my hand in with the Spanish. I could take on some private tutor clients, that kind of thing, and have an office job. That would be a way to give myself some headspace. But yeah, I think almost what I wanted was to have someone say, yes, it is okay to do this. You don't, just because the path was right for me 6 years ago or 3 years ago or 10 minutes ago, doesn't necessarily mean it remains the case now,
That's right. It takes so much courage to begin something, but sometimes it takes even more courage to end it.
Oh my God. Yes.
Hey,
You got this.
You got this, Mama. We are so behind you. And again, it's following those steps. It is listening to our intuition and seeing where it's going to lead. We don't know how this is going to turn out. And I even loved all of the ideas that started to bubble in for you, even in this last bit of you talking, like, oh, maybe I can keep some private clients and have some space. Those are the types of innovative solutions that start to come in. And I just got chills.
Same.
We just got the goosies, as J-Lo would say.
Oh my God.
Where when you give yourself permission to move in that unexpected direction, all of a sudden you begin to get all of these new ideas that you couldn't have ever got if you stayed grinding, banging your head against the wall when some part of you knows that's not the way for you right now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Ruth, thank you so much for a brilliant question. Please do keep us posted. We are so excited for this exciting adventure you're about to go on.
Totally.
I will absolutely let you know how I get on. Thank you ever so much. Have a great day.
You too, darling.
Take care then. Bye.
It's that clarity you get when you step outside of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think for each of us, I know every time in my life I make a decision that feels kind of against the grain, or that's unexpected, or that feels as though I could upset a lot of people or even upset some ideal in my own head. The floodgates open, and the amount of energy and new ideas that come pouring in are the affirmation that I need to like, yes, do that thing, girl.
Absolutely.
So that wraps it up for this episode of the MarieTV Call-In Show. Now, I would love to hear from you. Which of today's call-in people or any aspect of the question and answer resonated most with you and why? Leave a comment below and let us know. Now, as always, the best conversations happen in the magical land of MarieForleo.com. So get your butt on over there and leave a comment now. And while you're there, be sure to subscribe to our email list and become an MF Insider. You'll get exclusive content, some special giveaways, and some personal updates from me that I just don't share anywhere else. So you know what's coming. Stay on your game and keep going for your dreams, because the world needs that very special gift that only you have. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday. Are you tired of talking into an empty void? Are you ready for more sales, more clients, and more raving fans? Take our free 7-day writing class at thecopycure.com. Everything's figureoutable.
Don't forget, dry shampoo saves lives. Oh.
Ooh. I danced off my earring.
Excuse me, is your fridge running? Better go catch
Better
it.
go catch it. Don't mind us. We're just cracking up ourselves.